Super excited to welcome you all back to hear another purpose, journey, and story today. So excited to have our special guest on today. Welcome, Vivienne. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ross, for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you and have this conversation.
Awesome. So, first question, super simple, is where are you? Where in the world are you?
I am actually locating in Sydney, Australia at the moment, but my background is actually Malaysian. I have been here for quite some times, and yeah, I'm currently in Sydney, Australia.
Beautiful. What a beautiful country, both Malaysia and Australia. So, welcome. Awesome. Well, let's get
Mm.
to my favorite question, which is going back to the beginning of your purpose story and journey. And that's when, the first aha moments started to come and then lead us all the way to who you are today. And the floor is yours.
Okay, so where do I start? Um, so let's start from the tagline. You can see the tagline here. It used to be at the bottom, so I move it up so that I don't really need to move my body around. So unleash your inner lioness. First of all, where is this lioness coming from? Because I am a Leo, so that's why I got the word lioness. And what does unleash your inner lioness actually mean? This lioness doesn't necessarily mean to be out there rolling. You don't need to be loud. This definition of lioness is the most authentic, truest version of yourself. I am a talent and visibility coach. I help women to unleash their inner lioness to live a life that is true to themselves. So why did I got onto this journey? I was my first client. I wasn't sure or know anything about life coach at the beginning. So I thought that coach is only for sport, only for soccer or basketball until I was introduced about life coaching, introduced about personal development, and know who is Tony Robbins. And I tapped into this industry, went to learn about, I took a life coaching course. And at the time, thinking that I needed this for my own personal development journey. I used to be someone who is really shy and timid. If you ask me if I would like to speak on stage, even to stand out, I was like, I wanted to just stay behind the scene. I want to just stay small. So if to take back a few years back, I had a 9 to 5 job. I um I thought that because my background is Malaysian, Asian, Malaysian, Chinese, we were taught that to be that good girl. I was told that maybe your life is to get a good job, no, get a good education, get a good job, get a good husband, and raise your children, and then become a grandma. I thought that's the end of the life. That's what life's supposed to be. Until um, I was all this while I was thinking I was just to stay quiet. And until one day, I didn't realize that I was actually having something holding me back. I felt that I was meant for more. I wanted to do more, but every time I feel like I want to achieve something, there is one of my foot is actually on the pedal, the gas, and the other one's at the brake, on the brake at the same time. So I feel like I want to move forward, and then something was holding me back. Until one day, I was at a parent teacher interview. My son teacher was actually asking me in the interview, in the normal parent teacher interview, she was asking me, do you think your son might be autistic? And at that moment, I know that something wasn't right. He was actually copying my quiet, he's trying to be invisible like I was. Then I realized that this is enough. I am actually um, influenced my my kids. And then I realized that I have to change, not only for myself, but also my kids as well. That's how this personal development journey actually started.
Wow. So just want to first celebrate, from living in the box, from what your culture and your upbringing has, created these expectations to being, unleashing your inner lioness. So living in the box to lioness. What a beautiful story. So if you want to share what a little bit more about what was that, yeah, that big pivot moment and what patterns did you have to break to kind of be able to really embrace your purpose?
Mm-hmm. So, like I mentioned, I used to be someone who is shy, kind of like people pleasing, trying to follow instruction. And I also thought that I have to, as long as I do my job properly, I won't be getting into troubles. Aside from having that incident, hearing my son's teacher telling me that because he was quiet, he was timid, she thought that he had autism. And that's one of the triggers that I was on this personal development journey. And the other incident was that when I was working in my 9 to 5, I felt like there was one incident that made me feel like I was just a number to the company, because when I have been working so hard in the company, literally the moment that I walk into the office, I not even sitting down in the chair, the phone start ringing. I have to answer the phone calls. And then um it was the when there was like many years back, when we go to work, we had to punch card. So if we are late, we'll be in trouble. Literally, I was like a few minutes late. I got queried because my kids at the time was really young as well. When kids were young, you can't really control too much. When I was trying to get to work, they put on their pants, they wet something. So I have to handle them before I can send them to the childcare as well. So during that period of my time, I felt that I was such a bad mom to put my kids in the childcare. And I realized that no matter how hard I work, um, my supervisor wasn't stand up for me because just one incident. Because I was told by the clients for something that's urgent, but then I have to convey that message to my colleagues. But he got so frustrated, I was yelled at. But because of that, felt really upset, because that was a male dominant company as well. But when my supervisor didn't back me up, I felt really um, upset or felt down, because he wasn't back me up, because because of that incident. I was yelled at. I just feel bad at the time. Then I realized that it I was just a number to the company. Then I realized that people pleasing doesn't get you anywhere. You got to voice up and stand up for yourself. That's how I started to work so much on myself, to really know that what my values are. Just because I am a woman doesn't mean that I have to say yes to everything. If you never stand up for yourself, people thought that you are weak. People won't pity you, won't feel sorry for you just because you are weak. So that's how I got out from my victim mentality to someone who have the lioness unleashed.
Beautiful. And how did you take that power back? Did you get mentors? What was the steps that you started to take
Mm. Yeah, so
in your?
I then, because of this, like I say, when I find out that there was something in me, when I know that I was meant for more. I wanted to achieve something when my foot was on one of the on the gas, and at the same time on the brake. I was wondering, why did I do what I was doing? So I got on this personal development journey, look for way out. Then I found out who's Tony Robbins, and these ways of empowering me. And that's how I got into life coaching as well. I went to I learned from a lot of different mentors aside from Tony Robbins. I learned from I read books from Brian Tracy, and to know that you can change your destiny if you decide that you want to change. All of the time, we didn't really see the need for change until we were enough in the situation. That's why during the hero's journey that we learn, there's always two things that can happen to you. Either you are pulled by your vision or by your dream, or you're trying to run away from your pain. So either you know that you will hit rock bottom, either you face some circumstances that require you to change, you will change, or else we will never change. A lot of time, when I was in this personal development journey, I heard about a story about a dog. That old dog, I forgot what's the name of the dog, but the story, there was a dog that's sitting in one of the grocery shop. A man, every time he went into that grocery shop, the dog was whinging, growling, was like, oh, the dog was making some noise. And there's one day the man went into the shop owners and asked him, why is this dog keep like whining, or something like that? And the shop owners were saying that that old dog, literally sitting on a nail, but he never moved because it wasn't painful enough for him to move, right? It was us all the time. We were complaining about our life, we were whinging about our life, but we are not a tree. If you don't like if you don't like our circumstances, we can make changes. That's why that's the time when I had enough, that I went on this personal development journey and really found out about my aha moment, which is because there are these defining moments of ourselves that make who we are today. As a child, when we were 0 to 7 years old, that's the time when we were like formed or framed as well. And I went back to my 5 years old self. During this journey, on this healing journey, I went back to my 5 years old self. And that was a time when I was started kindergarten. And because at the time, during our culture, emotion intelligence wasn't a thing. They didn't really know a lot about separation anxiety or something like that. So every time I went to the kindergarten, I was crying. And every time I was dropped by my auntie, that was my auntie who dropped me to kindergarten at the time, I will literally cry every single day. No one actually come to ask me why I was crying. But because I was the fattest kids in the class, I was so fat, I was chubby, I had dark skin as well when I was little. And because maybe because I watched too much TV at the time, I was the first child in class wearing glasses. So that's how long I have been wearing these glasses. And wearing glasses at the time, especially at such a young age, wasn't a norm. It wasn't a normal thing at the time. So all the kids thought that I was an alien. So imagine at the time being that 5 years old, surrounded by all these 5 years old kids who never seen another child wearing glasses. They all laugh at me. I still remember vividly all these kids come to laugh at me, not only because I'm fat, but because I wear glasses for the first child who wore glasses at the time. So I cried every single day. I was dropped to the school until one day, I think the teacher had enough of me crying every single day. She came to me with a cane because at the time using a cane to discipline is still illegal or something like that. She literally came to me with the cane right in front of my face. To this 5 years old little girl, she said, "Shut up, or I will smack you." So from that day onwards, I stopped crying. Not only that I stopped crying, I think I was muted from that day onwards. So I found that defining moment. I realized that was one of the reasons that caused me, I wouldn't say, I would say probably a little traumatized, that whenever I feel like I want to speak out, the subconscious of me was thinking someone will be coming to tell me to shut up again. So because of this personal development journey, I get to meet my 5 years old self, nurturing her, heal from her. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping women to find that defining moment, to really know the reason why they behave in certain ways. I'm
That's
not sure if I
amazing.
did answer your question, Ross.
Yes, for sure. And we often, when we are able to go back and see our childhood, there is always those defining moments, and we don't realize how much we're still carrying those the repercussions of that with us until we're able to go
Mm,
back and see, oh my gosh, I've been doing this in my life, this pattern because of my 5-year-old self. Wow.
mm,
Uh, yeah. So
yes.
what are some of the values that you hold dear to you now and that have gotten you through in all this process?
The values that hold me, or the values that I always have, is compassion. Not only compassion to others, but be compassion with yourself. Because a lot of time we will ask, who who were the person that you love the most? We sometimes answer our children, our partner, our parents, but we never really answer at first. It's me, whom I love the most. We tend to forget about ourselves. So compassionate with ourselves, be kind to ourselves, is the one that I learned throughout this personal development journey. Yes, there are mistakes that we make in our life, but then I also remember something that also from Tony Robbins. Life is happening for us, not to us. That's why whenever I face with challenges, or sometimes I feel that, oh, is this a decision that I make is not correct or no, I always remind myself of this by Tony Robbins, is that everything that happens in our life happens for us for a reason, and there are something for us to learn from that as well. That's something that has been holding ever since I got on this personal development journey. And one last one is that the first thing that I learned on life coaching is something called taking 100% responsibilities of your life. Anything that happens in our life, we have to remind ourselves it was from the decision that we make before. So when we remind ourselves to take 100% responsibility of our life, we actually got that power back in our hand, because we were able to make it right as well. So those are the three things
Abs
that I always remind myself.
Beautiful. And yeah, for sure, taking responsibility. That also reminds me, just as and you're a parent as well, that sometimes when we have a struggle with our child, I've learned recently that that's just something within ourselves that we need to address. And whatever is triggering us within them or from them, it's just something that we need to look at, our mirror and see, okay, how can I take responsibility for this? And why is this bothering me so much? And it's not just with,
Yeah, that's a very, very good way. Even though it's that sometimes with my husband as well, sometimes like I
yeah,
feel like strangling him. Another thing is that, okay, take 100% responsibility 100% responsibilities of your life. You were the one chosen him, so you know how he behaved before. So see things in a different perspective, be grateful. So then I feel that the fire that is bubbling up, the blood that was boiling will come down quite often instantaneously.
Absolutely. So who is your ideal person that you help? I know you said women. Who do they look like? Who are they?
I help women 30 to 50 years old who mostly they are moms who play different roles in their life, as a mom, as a daughter, as an employees, but they forgot who they are, and they tend to lose their identity. So my mission is to help these women to tap into their inner lioness, that's most authentic version of themselves, to love themselves first, to remind them that they have the power to choose their life and their choice is in their own hand.
Beautiful. And what is your, looking 5, 10 years down the road, what is that big impact that you want to have with, this gift that you're helping women with?
That's a great question, Rose. I recently, because I also interview different women, and today I was editing the episode with Irina. Something that she mentioned that when I'm doing the editing, she mentioned something that is so powerful, and I have to rewind and listen to it a few times. She says, "Who I am is who I see," something like that. It's mean that whoever we visualize will be who we are. So if you ask me this question, she said that's literally the question that she mentioned. A lot of guests ask about this question. I mean, people ask about this question: where will you be in 5 years' time? So to be really honest, I don't really have I don't really know what will happen in 5 years' time, but my mission is to get the message out to as many women as possible. And I always believe that sometimes we might feel discouraged that we don't really have a lot of view on our podcast, sometimes for myself, or not a lot of people watching it. But I always believe that no matter how many people are watching, but I believe that one people out there is waiting for the message. And if we manage to get this message to that one people, it might help them tremendously.
Exactly. That's right on the nail. If just one person's life gets transformed from stories, from, these experiences that we're sharing, then it's
Mm,
very much worth it. So
that's right.
beautiful. Well, what is the easiest way for people to get a hold of you and to connect with you?
I think they should be able to find me pretty easy when they put in my name, Vivienne Fam. I got this on the screen here. They should be able to find me. I got my website, my YouTube, my social medias, and my podcast as well. And you might be finding some crazy video that I make on TikTok as well. So if there anyone of your listeners or audience would like to connect with me, they are more than welcome. To if they want to tap into their inner lioness, which is the most authentic version of themselves, they are more than welcome to have a chat with me, or anything that they would like to chat with me. Welcome as well.
Beautiful. And before we get to the last words of wisdom, is there any stories from women that you've helped along the way? What is one story that stands out to you
Mm,
of a transformation?
I think the most recent clients that I work with is something that I feel really, really proud of, was that she was someone who was holding herself back because of some traumatized experience that she had when she was in high school. I think she mentioned that she was bullied. That's why when she started her business, she was holding herself back from putting her message out there on social media, especially. There was a lot of time, I think a lot of women out there as well, they were so afraid that her friends, her family might judge her. And one thing that I think she mentioned that she thought, who am I to do something like that? That's something that I used to think as well. Who am I to do this podcast? Who am I to do video out there? But then I told her, we don't want to be the best kept secret. We need to get ourselves out there. And she literally have a very powerful mission that a lot of people needed her work as well. A lot of people needed her message as well. So I told her about that. And I'm so proud of her when she actually reached out to her local newspaper to ask if they can share her story. She before she did that, she told me that something that came across her mind is that what would Vivienne do if she was in that situation? And I'm so proud of her that she actually reached out to the newspaper and her news, I mean, her stories, her work, and her business was actually published in the newspaper. So I really think that we all have a message. We all have a powerful mission that don't think that don't think about us, because think about of the people that going to be transformed, that going to be helped or to get the benefit from. So that's how that's my recent clients that I'm really really proud of her.
Beautiful. I love that. Just seeing, and you said you help them with visibility and, sharing their story in a newspaper. What a great way to share with a big audience. So what would you say are your last words of wisdom that you want to share with our audience today?
The last piece of message I would like to share with them is that whatever that is, that little voice inside your head that may be telling you that I wanted to do that, my life could be better. I wanted that life or something like that. Whatever chatterbox that or little voice in your head, take some time, pause, and really listen to that voice. And whether something that you feel like doing, the little voice asking you to do, just freaking do it. Because never when if you never try, you will never know the answer.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much today, Vivian. It's been such an amazing pleasure and experience having you sharing your purpose stories and journey with us today. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks to you, Ross, for having me today in your podcast. And thank you so much for waking up so early for this podcast to have me as well.
Absolutely. Have a great one.
Thank you, Ross. Bye.